I'm so excited. Yeah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag. It's going to turn off my mic when I'm speaking. I turn it off so you do the flag salute in the morning and turn it on. Okay, second time doing it today. Paul, we want to recognize is on Zoom, correct?
Hey, can we do a mic check with him real quick? Hey, Paul, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I couldn't hear you when Aaron turned off her mic during the Pledge of Allegiance. I thought there was something wrong with my sound system. So, but I can hear you just fine now. Thank you.
It's user error, Paul. I'm my fault. All right, we're going to start with some recognition today.
I'd like to invite Robin Rich up to the front. And we're going to start making this somewhat of a tradition, because in this district, you know that we are united by a common purpose, and that's to fulfill our promise to every student that they're known, valued, and supported. The hands that go into making that promise happen are many, and some of the hands that worked like nonstop this summer and even up until today are the people in our technology department who do fantastic work. So impressed with their professionalism, their customer service, their response. Robin told us that his goal was that teachers could start teaching day one without any hiccups. And even if there was maybe one or two, I'm telling you, no phone calls here. So whatever you're doing, thank you. Thank you for helping us keep that promise. You have some special certificates. I'll show you these because they're super cool. They're little 60-year-old certificates because we're keeping with that theme, but it talks about just being like making sure our promise in actions. So Robin, I will turn this over to you.
Thank you. I'm so very proud of this community, and I'm very proud to stand before you, the board, conducted it. And this just means everything to me. This is I've been in many school districts, and this has never ever taken place. So I was completely emotional wreck on Friday. There were people that were just like literally walking around, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I didn't know how to explain it, because I've just done this, and we do our work without thanks. It's about a purpose of ensuring that the children are taken care of. And it just takes, there's a lot of hands in the pie. And the people that are here today, plus the ones that are in the back end that already had commitments to the Thunderbird games and everything else, they're just as important to me all the way around as everyone else. So I'm going to start off by Jeremy Jones. Please. I can't thank you enough. You've been my right hand for quite some time, and for the board that doesn't know, Jeremy Jones was just advanced. He took my old position, and I was very tickled about that because he did all the work that's required to get here. So I'm very, very, very thankful. Stay up here. Justin Fields. He's my superstar tech too. He runs Sumner High School for the most part and everything. And if you want to know a needy school, that is a needy school. And stuff, and he does it seamlessly. So I thank him very much for your work. Roger Tao. I can look at Roger and say I've never seen anybody in my life work as hard in the summer as I have with Roger. He ensured that we had 170 panels installed this summer, and that is not an easy feat. And there was a lot of moving parts to that, and for him to accomplish that, I'm just very proud. But right now, every classroom in this entire district all has the exact same system in place, so that anyone moving around can literally walk into a classroom and use that same technology, no hiccups. I'm very proud of that. And last but not least, Keith Stevens. I can't thank him enough. Our cybersecurity was nothing. And we are Presentation is how you. State audit inspection, and we went through with flying colors. We have a couple places we have to adjust. But other than that, we are so far ahead of the game all the way around. And I couldn't have done any of this without Keith or this team, and I'm very, very, very proud. Just want you guys.
Hey, Roger, who's here with you tonight?
My daughter Victoria.
Come over for the picture.
Maple wants, yeah, Maple wants student here.
Thanks, Sandwich.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're in the place.
Before you go in further, keep getting ass. All right.
Not yet.
Same thing. Look what you did.
Not just yet.
Look what you did.
I'm gonna give you like a little intro. Robin, is this your first board presentation?
I presented before the boards a variety of points, but not at this level.
You'll be
This is my very first.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Thank you for all your work. That was a great presentation, or, celebration. Okay, we're gonna move into the presentation at this time, an in-depth discussion of the educational programs, operations levy, and technology funding will be presented to the board by Chief Finance and District Operations Officer.
So before Robin starts his presentation, Bing takes you on another journey through her presentation. I just want to give this conversation a little bit of framing and context. It's for the last several months, we've been talking to you about information related to the upcoming levies, the EPNO levy and the capital technology levy. Tonight is your opportunity once again to look at the numbers, to make sure you're comfortable, because in October, we're going to be asking you to take action on 2 resolutions so that we can run both levies, which one of these levies right now that you're looking at, I mean, that's about 16% of our overall budget. So these are incredibly critical to the overall operations of this district and everything that we do to offer students and like excellent education. And then, Robin will walk you through the technology levy. There were some decisions made. I also want you to remember that prior to Robin, Kyle went out and solicited feedback from many groups to make sure that we could right-size the technology levy. We're very careful when it comes to taxpayer dollars. We want to make sure not only that we're good stewards of that money, but that we plan effectively and methodically on how we spend it. So tonight is really for you to ask questions, feel comfortable. If we don't have answers tonight, we'll find them and we will bring them back to you next Wednesday. Okay? All right. Who's going first? You? Right?
That's fine, yeah.
All right.
So you recall in June, I present the EPNO and the tech levy in a very high level, kind of introduce you to the package. But in 3 months, the things has changed, especially lately. I got some information from the county that our assess value totally like. So with that, something's impact in our calculation. And another change is our enrollment projections, right? The enrollment coming in, this 4-day counts compared with we just end the year is pretty much flat. It's not really jumped 3% as we expect. So those 2 reasons I changed a little bit of the calculation. We want to ask the taxpayers to pay less than what we initially thought that we would. So we want to kind of align with the reality of the market right now. So you can see that in the first 7 years of the assess value, you can see all the digits except the COVID time. I have dropped a little bit, but it go up again. So last year, 18.1%. Guess what now? 2024, 24, it dropped to a -2. That is very unusual drop. Now I put 0% because the advisor, the financial advisor and I talk about because we have a little bit of the new constructions around here. So we were thinking maybe flat instead of -2. Just try to make up a little bit of that balance. So this is the projection that I found more reasonable than last time that we thought. Because this job is very unusual. So you can see the graph, right? Totally dropped into the. And because of that, you see the formula changed as well because of that. Remember we talked about excess value increase, rate decrease. Now it's the other way around. Assets values drop, the rates increase. It's like how they balance each other. So I want to walk you through how we calculate EP&O levy. There's two different methodologies. One, using the enrollment projection or actual enrollment when we actually collect that time. Remember the 2,500 versus a $2.50 per 1,000 asset value. In 2019, we choose either one. It depends on the asset value. Back then, asset value is so high, we were not able to collect that much. So we go to the enrollment calculation. Now it could change, right? It flip back because the asset value go down. It depends on the calculation now. So asset enrollment times 2,500 plus, of course, the CDI adjustment. And then that's the levy dollar we will collect. Another format is asset value times $2.50. That is the maximum that you can collect for 1,000 asset value. That another format generate a different levy amount, whichever is less. So that's law, even though you can calculate whatever higher, but the law say you have to collect the less. Even though the taxpayer say, hey, I want to give you 40 million. But if you calculate this out, you have only 35 million. You cannot collect 40 million. The law tells you how much you can collect. So that's how they calculate. Either way, it depends on the asset value calculated out or the enrollment calculated out. The outcome, you have to see which one is less. That is the number we will have to. So last time I asked a little bit more, now I ask less because of the change. So now we ask 4 years, the same. 38 million instead of 38.5. 42 will remain the same with the calculation amount, and then 45. I asked 47. Now it's 45. So the last one was 52.5, and now it's 50. So we kind of lower the request. Then I use the average home value. In this area, Sumner-Bonney Lake, the average home value is a little bit over $500,000. And I use that, and of course, every year you increase based on the asset value that we project. And then the levy rate is calculated out. Use this asset value. However, you see that why I highlighted $2.50? You're higher than $2.50 when you calculate this out, but you are not able to get that. You only get maximum $2, and that's why. So the levy per year is each year. With this package, you will pay like a little bit over $1,000. And then each month is about 89, 100, a little bit over 100. The increase per month, the first year was $23, but then gradually it kind of goes down. Even down to $3 increase in 1 year. So that's how we calculate it. And I just want to clarify that how we calculate it and why it's different from last time that I said. And this is the number that we request. And it will show in the resolution in October if you believe this number is fair. And allow us to propose this. Any question?
Ben, go back to that equation slide. The reason Ben showed you this equation slide is because what's gonna happen on this slide directly impacts the next slide. And both of these equations you're gonna see in that levy rate, which, I'm not gonna say it's not going to be confusing because we're gonna figure out a way to really communicate it. But how you calculate that levy dollar is incredibly important to understand. Both equations, you put, Ben will put the money in, like the numbers in, whatever pops out, poof, we can take whichever is less, and if you go to that next slide. That's why she has to, it's like we're using both of those equations in the levy rate allowed, which is. Well, yeah, it's just different. I mean, we're used to having one equation really match the entire ask, but this time we're gonna have to toggle between two.
It's a little bit difficult to project, but it is what it is.
What is your final enrollment number then?
Right now.
Yeah.
It's about, a little bit over 9,900, probably about 9,900.
But then when we take the October number. well,
That's what I'm saying, the final
Yeah.
number will be
You have to
October.
put it in, but this year we only be cut from last, levy. We're talking about starting 2025. So that number may not be the same anymore. That number will grow.
So Ben, what enrollment number will you use for that? What,
Oh.
from what year?
This will be a little bit over 10 now.
But what year, like when? Is it this October? Is it in the future?
No, this is the future. This is all projected in the future. We will not,
This is if you go back to the equation, this is the bottom equation, but when you get final enrollment, you'll do the upper equation.
you will use the actual enrollment. And you also use the actual asset value at the time.
Okay.
To see which one, and also you will use, right now, the 2,500 plus some adjustment of the inflation. Right now is about 3,000, right? It gradually increase because every year you have the CPI increase. That number adjusts, so it depends on what the CPI. So there's a lot of variance. You know, you cannot have one fixed number, you can just plug it in and get the number.
No, but she probably put over there on the. Ben, could you do like a hypothetical example over there on the whiteboard?
I can do that. Okay,
Oh, sure, yeah, that's a whiteboard too. I didn't-
Using the 9,900.
okay. So let's say,
You should just do 10,000.
10,000. Hey, as good as she is, we could have done it.
say $50,000, right?
Ben, which equation is this? Is this the top one?
So enrollment, this is enrollment, okay, this is enrollment, right? And this is the 2,500 plus CPI. Now, this is the 2,500 is 2009. And gradually, the increase. So that will be
30 million.
30 million. So let's say the assets value, oh my God, is 14 billion. Right? 14 billion, and you time $2.50 for 1,000. 35?
35 billion.
No,
Every month.
you have to divide it by 1,000.
Oh.
You time $2.50. And then divided by 1,000. So it's 35 million. So whichever less, then we will only collect 30K, million.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay. Yep. But
Does it make sense now?
you put the numbers in, whatever's less is what we get.
The less,
Right.
yeah. This one and this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you, the bottom one, you can collect million, like, big money, that's why the law.
Even though, let's say we ask 40 million, right? But we cannot collect all those.
Mhm.
We only collect 30. We left 10 million on the table. We cannot collect. That's how it is.
Mm.
Little complicated. Simple to me. Any other question?
Did Paul have a question?
Oh, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. Thanks for asking, Benny. It's kind of a broad-based question, and that is, does the district expect the law to change?
What kind of change you refer to, Paul?
Well, it was about 4 years ago. We had this law, and it was limited levies at $1.50 per thousand. And the district brought us a levy like this. We went out with it. The math wasn't very accurate, but it benefited the district immensely because when they changed the law the following year, we were able to just go clear up to $2.50, where it was basically, in my opinion, sold to the taxpayers that it was going to be $1.50 per thousand. And so the argument is, it doesn't really matter what the estimate is per thousand. It's the voter is voting on the total collection amount for the year. And so if we've got numbers that are inflated by $5 and $6 and $8 and $10 million, why would we do that? Except for the sense that we thought, well, the legislators are going to change the law to allow us to collect more money. I mean, just look at all the districts that are struggling financially right now. Why wouldn't they adjust the law? So that's my question. Does the district anticipate this law changing? And then the second part of that is, if it's no, and there's probably no way we're ever going back to the $2.50 calculation, then we better look at the $2,500 plus CPI and multiply that by our full-time enrollment, and then add a little bit of cushion on it and get to a more realistic number that we're going to ask our voters.
So Paul, first of all, in 2019, the law changed. Nobody predicted that. That's why a lot of people go back out for the special run, which is not fun. For us, we did not, because we calculate based on, because we didn't even know that at the time, our calculation will flip to the enrollment, because the assess value increased so much at the time, and you have to use that. Remember, I used only less than 80%.
Excuse me, Bang.
Yeah.
I was here in 2019. You were not in our district yet. And the calculation that went out to that levy in 2000, I think it was 2018, that was an incorrect calculation.
Oh,
And
you
what
talked
they,
about previous.
what they put on there was a massive number. And then they said, oh, it's only $1.50 per thousand. But if you multiplied that $1.50 by the asset value, you would have never gotten anywhere close to the large number that they had on there. That wasn't anybody's fault other than the individual who made the calculations and brought it to us before the vote. I've learned a lot since then. And so that's where my question comes from, is a hesitancy to see large figures that are $5 to $10,000, or I'm sorry, $5 to $10 million more in collection than what the law would really allow us to collect. I don't like that. And one of the questions that Lori stated at the outset is that if we're not comfortable with the numbers, this is where we need to get comfortable with them. And at this point, I'm not comfortable with them.
So this calculation is all projected because no one knows, like I said, from 18% of assess value decreased to -2, right? No one would know. The markets change, fluctuates, just like you buy stock. So for our job to project this is very difficult. You don't know what year will flip from the enrollment projection to the assess value dollar. So that's why school district will have to prepare the flip or prepare the unexpected. But I think this calculation is not way over than really far from the reality. That's why when I see this assess value decrease, I change right away to reduce the request amount.
Okay, can you follow me? I know it's hard to do this over the internet like this on Zoom. But so you just told us that we get about $30 million currently in levy, right? In enrichment levy. It's roughly around 30 million. And you had said that the amount that we can collect per student, which is $2,500, and that's according to the law, $2,500 plus CPI. I went and looked at the CPI, and you're right. CPI for right around December 2003, that gets us up to about $3,167. So again, let's follow the math. Let's say, actually, I'm sorry, for 2003, it's 2,959, almost 3,000. Next year, if CPI is 5.5, it'll go up to 3,100, 3,116. And then again, if we calculate that CPI goes up 5% over the next 4 years after that, or next 5 years, it's pretty easy to predict. And we start to see that basically in the year 2004, school year 2004, 2025, that figure would approximate $3,200.72 per student. If I multiply that by a projection of 10,098 students, which was what was in our budget forecast, I get 33 million and basically a little over 33 million. Even if we rounded that up to 34 million, which, because it's just a little over 30, rounded up by $1 million, that would still be $4 million less than the number you have there. And it gets worse. By the time we get out to year 2028, if I increase that raw $2,500 compounded by CPI annually, I get a figure of $3,788 per student. We're anticipating roughly 11,000 students in the year 2027 to 2028. That would be $41,672,000. That's like $9 million difference, less than the 50. Again, round some of these numbers up to 42 or even $42.5 million in 2028. It gives people a more realistic number of what they can expect when they're voting on this. I don't see how asset values would have to plummet for us to get anywhere close to going back to this $2.50 number. Maybe we could see a figure on how far asset prices would have to drop before we got back on that. But as far as I can see, the law's here. This is the law. We're currently limited by the number of students and the figure for those number of students, the maximum amount that we can spend. And that's a fairly easy projection to do. We're starting to get lost in all this other weeds where I'm just not comfortable sending this out to voters for voters to look and say, yeah, 50 million, okay. And then all of a sudden the law changes and people are thinking it's going to be a little less, and it ends up being cost them a little more per thousand. So again, we talk about transparency in this district, and we talk about being upfront with voters. Let's do that. And that gets back to my other point of let's call it an enrichment levy. That's what the law says it is. That's what it is.
The EPNO is educational program and operations. And that's what in the law is said that OSBI said enrichment is because it's on top of what the basic gap was funded. And that's why they use the terminology there. But in the law language, educational programs and operation is the word EPNO. That's why we just follow the law, how we call them. So go back to the calculation. again, enrollment is not always 10,000 anymore. These school districts growing, even though it's not really dramatic, but if you look at what Shannon, the demographer, talk about the growth, he would expect that 3% each year for Sumner-Bonney Lake School District's enrollment growth. So it's hard to predict, right? If we keep using 10,000 and we over 10,000, then we are short. And we really don't want to be short, right? Because our kids deserve what we were supposed to give them, right? Based on the law.
I used, by the time I got to year 2028, I used your projection of 11,000. I'm going to use my calculator here, and in 2028, use, again, adjusted for inflation by, and again, you can play with the CPI number, but
Right.
adjusted, that's 5% per year. It would be 30, hold on, Bing, 3788, multiply, I'm going to say 12,000 students. And what would that be? That's a huge increase in students. That would only be $45 million, basically $45.4 million. So again, these numbers I'm not comfortable with for many reasons, and I just laid out the reasons, the most important reasons why.
Summarize what you just said.
What I heard was there's a word that the law could possibly change that would change these numbers. Right. I know that's a very simplistic way of summarizing what you said.
Law did not hold.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time changed because the levy swap,
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's changed.
Right.
But I don't see a lot of change.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Paul,
Hey, Paul?
Yes, I'm here.
we're trying to summarize, I guess, what you just said. It sounded like I heard kind of two things. One, the unexpected change in the law last time. Was the question, do we expect that again? And then your other statement was talking about what is communicated as far as the total volume of the levy. You're more comfortable talking about the number as it gets out to 2028. That I may have lost you on that.
Yeah, I'm, the chances of us, Kevin, ever going back to this levy amount of $2.50 per thousand is minuscule, based on our current asset value in this district and the current rate of growth. Tahali and everywhere else in this district is growing leaps and bounds, which is beneficial to us because we get lots of more students. But the chances of us going back to this levy amount of $2.50 is slim. So let's get to where the law allows, it has a limiting factor, and that is $2,500 plus CPI per student. Again, I had to go online to BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, to find out what the CPI was for the last couple of years. Currently, again, it's just a calculation. You'd have to check with them. The state probably has a more accurate figure, but currently that would be about $2,954. Next year, if CPI comes in at about 5.5%, it'll go up to $3,116. So these are things we can predict. Even if you wanted to suggest and say CPI, we're going to expect inflation of 6% or 7%. That gives us a more realistic number of what to put before the voters so that they can see what is the real levy amount that is being requested here. These numbers currently in this schedule are very inflated, in my opinion. And again, unless the district is anticipating a law change, and if they are, I would suggest we only go out with a 2-year levy and then adjust when the levy, if they change the law in 2 years, we go back out to the voters and request something larger. But again, we talk a lot about transparency. We talk a lot about, you know, being upfront with voters. And so let's make sure these numbers are as accurate as we can be. We realize they're projections. I even suggest putting some extra cushion in there. But so like I just did the calculation in 2028, where I said, okay, what if we had 12,000 students in the district? Well, that would be amazing. Currently, projections are only 11,000 students in 2028. But if, say, we just hit the bonanza, we had 12,000 students, we wouldn't come anywhere close to that $50 million. I just did it right here for you guys. It was $45.5 million. So let's be realistic. Let's use the number that fits this district the best. And that's where I'm at, Kevin.
So I guess what I'm hearing you say is that the slide that's on the screen right now is based on assessed value. Okay, and you would have been more comfortable if the slide on the screen had been based on enrollment. Because that's probably the number we're gonna end up at anyway. What Bang said at the beginning of the presentation was they have to do both calculations and pick which lower. But are you saying that if enrollment had been on the screen right now instead of assessed value, that's what you're asking for?
Well, you're right. So they have to pick what's lower. They run both these scenarios and then they pick what's lower. I don't see any scenario where this assessed value is going to be higher, lower than the per student rate. And so why don't we see both of those in a realistic picture? And then we could pretty much say, okay, well, let's go back out to the voters with this more realistic, position where we project students' growth at this level. We anticipate inflation at this level. But this calculations here are no longer relevant to this district.
That's your opinion, right, Paul?
Well, it's a well-informed opinion, but yeah, it's an opinion.
So I guess it would have been helpful maybe to have a second slide here. And then would have probably made them feel better, I guess.
Well, that's why I asked to see the enrollment versus what it was. I mean, do you have a slide that can be made to show that?
I can
Yeah.
put together some slides.
Can I ask a question as to, I guess, wouldn't that be a good way to have it? I mean, because if you show both, then we could see, both. And is one more realistic than the other? I guess I understand what Paul is saying here is because if you show the enrollment and it does come out as a lot less. And wouldn't the voters want to see that versus this, or what's the advantage of having this one over the other one for the community, or is it not?
I think we're maybe missing something here, which is, I don't think she was saying that
Right.
that slide is what we're going with.
Yeah, but it would be nice to see. both.
Yeah, but what we go out with would be the low.
Yeah,
Oh, Rick,
yeah,
the advantage of going with the higher number, that if the law changes, we can raise the taxes right up to the higher number. That's the advantage of it.
say that again, Paul.
So if we use higher figures, and that's what voters vote on, because it doesn't matter what the levy rate is. What only matters is the number that's in that, what the total collection authorized was. So if it's $50 million to be authorized, but the law limits us to $42 million, all we can collect is $42 million. Unless there's a law change, and then we don't have to go back out to the voters because we're already authorized to collect 50 million. We just basically go up to the 50 million. So that's the one advantage of having the higher number.
Got it.
So I can present next time, because I have another presentations for this levy, I can kind of show you two set of calculation. Yes, we have to have some kind of cushion. Without cushion, you will, if you short of, if your enrollment increase more than you project, means that you cannot collect what you want to collect by law. And that's why every school district I work for, I prepare this to prepare a little bit cushions in case, because projection is projection, right? It's not intentionally to mislead anyone. I'm part of the taxpayer too, right? And I want to be due diligence for all the work that I have been doing here, this district and other district as well. So I'm not intentionally to really fool anybody with this number. I have all the calculations back on why I calculate and I put a little bit cushion. Yes, everybody does. There's no doubt. But not necessary to inflate to the point that change the law, for example, $2.50 to $3.50, you are able to collect $3.50. No way. Not that big of the cushions to cover that. But anyway, I will present to you next month on next time board meeting to be more in depth of the calculation. Then you can choose, the board can choose whatever number you want to put in the resolution.
I think it would just be nice to see how it comes out.
Yes,
Yeah, Bang, you're one of the most like ethical people I know. You don't, you have made the finances in this district more transparent than I've ever seen in the 26 years I've been here. So for anyone to even think that you would try to pull a fast one or try to do something to the community that was unethical is absolutely false. You are outstanding at what you do.
I am a CBA.
Yes.
Every time I renew my CBA license, I have to take the ethical class and test that. Pass. So, you need to trust that.
And we just approved the budget last month. We got to see your work over time and how diligent you are with taxpayer money. And we talked about that. So in no way, shape or form, do those of us think for 1 second, that you're not being transparent, trying to pull that one.
I don't think-
And we wouldn't want to go back and say, oh, why'd you cap us out when we had the capacity to, collect this? So I understand, you're reasoning the best I can, knowing that you're way smarter in all this tonight.
There's a rollback, right? If you are not collecting what the law allow you. So the rollback means that those money we are not collecting.
Right.
And it show in the financial statement.
Well, and your track record in this district is impeccable. You take really good care of our financials.
And I think, everything that they're saying is correct. The thing that why I brought that up there is just because it does show the two ways.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I think it's just nice to see both ways.
Right.
And if there's a difference, if there's not a difference, whatever it is. But it just shows that, hey, this is one way, one way, this is the other way, however it comes out. Not saying that anything's right or wrong here, but it just kind of. Just because to me, when I saw this, so that when I looked at the next page to see, well, where's the other example of the other one? And that's all it is, it's just how do they come out? Both.
I'll add that one more slide next time. So you can see. Thank you, Ben. Right. And move on with the penalty. How do I go back to?
Good thing we have the director of technology.
Is the board. That is the. Want to how you. Then a good time to talk about. Your rights. You want to, because I have a.
I think yours, we could rock yours right now. Think so? Yeah, Define really what's in the past, what's that?
So continues on with the levy, but this is a technology levy. And we want to thank our voters. Without this levy, we will have a hard time to transition from the in-person to the digital learning during the COVID time. And our case is so fortunate to have all the devices ready for them to switch. And we are so lucky, so we need to thank our taxpayer for giving us that opportunity to do that. So this is the past time we asked for 6 years of the levy. And this is what we use that 6 years levy for, all the project in very high level. Robin have several slides in a very detail of the actual project that we have done using that 6 years levy. So this is again the calculation, but the tech levy calculation is very different from what I just show you, the EPNO. Because this is based on the actual need of the project. So again, why these numbers changed from last time? That is because the assets value changed, the rates changed. And also thanks to Robin, he provided me information like the timeline of each project. So I'm able to put together a project cash flow statement. So I know that what year I need how much in these 6 years. So because the last levy, we have 7 million left. So we use that money and reduce the whole project cost. And that's why we come up with this dollar. And each year, how much we need for each year in order to fulfill the project with the timeline. Again, this is the rates based on the assets value we project. Previously, I showed you the assets value drop and the rates go up a little bit. And then annually, you probably pay about $176 in 2025. Each month is $15. And the increase from 2025 to 24 is $3. So we try to kind of smooth the increase decrease so it won't be so dramatic to our taxpayer. It's easier just kind of renew the package that they've been paying in the past 6 years. It just continues on paying maybe at $3 or less than $1 to the end of the project. So as you started before, we have Plan A to Plan C. Plan A is about 22.4 million. You have the long big spreadsheet here to look at. Plan A is a little bit orange color. Plan B is additional to the Plan A, which is the yellow gold color. And then Plan C is additional to the Plan A and Plan B, that is the green color. So I have two different spreadsheets. One is for 4 years. What if we run 4 years levy instead of 6 years? So what the project look like? We probably have to drop some of the project in 4 years because you cannot finish the whole thing. So, and then the timeline difference, it impacts the dollar amount of each year's calculation. So you have both the 4 years and the 6 years. So the 4 years, you probably have to run 29 million euros with some push. Yeah. And then the 6 years is about 39 million. We kind of round up. So this link is exactly what I just printed out for you, so you can review each project. Each plan. And then the smaller sheet is how I calculate 4 years dollars per year, per month, and the rate. And 6 years is stretched out a little bit. And then the dollar amount for each year and each month, and the increase, decrease. For each month. If you have any question in the detail on those plans, we have Robin here can answer those questions.
Okay. So is on each of these sheets at the bottom number here, the total of your AVs.
Correct. In 4 years.
In 4 years.
So we dropped some of the project because of timeline, we cannot fulfill all the project in 3 plans. That's why the dollar amount is a little bit slightly different from this. However, the raise is higher because you squeeze the money and collect in 4 years instead of stress a little bit in 6 years.
My question was this
Yes.
29 and this 37,
And
Or
again,
you-
like I said, I round up a little bit, so it won't be like.
but that's the total of A, B, and C. is down here.
Correct, correct. Get that.
Does this take into consideration any inflation? or-
Yes, it does.
Okay. Considering that, especially considering-
That's why some cruises will help. You
Right.
never know that what the inflation would be,
Exactly.
especially construction, technology. You know, the supply chain shortage right now, it just create a lot of inflation.
It was before when we looked at a 4 and a 6, or is there an advantage to one or the other?
Yeah.
I mean, as things change,
I have this advice.
we could, okay, all right.
Oh. This is way better. 4 years. You match the cycle with the EPNO plan, so you just go out once, not mismatch the cycle. However, you have to squeeze three pens together, and the rates will be high each year. 6 year, yes, you're off cycle, but you are fulfill all 3 plans, A, B, C. And the raise is lower because you stretch a little bit, so each year you collect a little bit less. So that's the pro and con of those. Now, sometimes EPNO may not be always fulfilled. I think some of the school district did 2 years before I can.
Correct.
So it may not be magic. Always.
I guess my question was. I'm technology challenged, let's put it bluntly. As things change so quickly nowadays, and your plans of these. I mean, do you want to do a 6 or do you want to do a 4 when things are, it seems like technology changes so quick these days, is there an advantage to one or the other?
I think for the consumer and for the taxpayer, the 6 is a better deal all the way around. And stuff, and we'd be able to get more out of it and stuff. We are playing a risk with time and the value of things coming up, but Kyle and I spent an extraordinary amount of time trying to predict these numbers and try to come up with it, and we were trying to use the past in a lot of our scenarios of trying to make that prediction, and we put in pretty decent buffers and all that. So I'm I feel really good. What we have set down and done is it really translated the work that Kyle and I had done together, and then we moved it into Bang, and she helped me massage the numbers. Without her, I would have been a complete loss. She's an absolute genius. Take that not back. That she truly, honestly is. And I really think that the 6 year is the best deal for the district all the way around. It's lower for the taxpayer, and I just believe that we're going to. In a lot of these cases, I might be able to move some of the 5th and 6 year projects up earlier to try to beat that number, to make sure that we got these things done. But it's truly a tough challenge.
But for like new technology advancements and any of the stuff that you don't see a problem in that area. You never
I
get
don't,
to.
most of this is pretty much a lot of it is negotiation skills and what you can do, and what you can bring to the table. And I really think that the district has put me in a great position to use one of my greatest assets, and that is contract
So, Robert,
negotiation.
what about, hardware, like, is this computer gonna be sufficient in 6 years?
No, that computer 6 years from now, right now, I'm looking, everything that I'm doing right now, I'm looking at 5 and 6 years. Anything I purchase today, I'm looking to get a life cycle out of, and that life cycle changes on every piece of equipment, whether it be hardware in the server room or whether it be the actual computer itself. Well, it used to be in the way we would predict these for a 5-year and stuff, and now you're really at a point, the technology is changing so fast that we can't keep up with it, that it's really a 3-year prediction. So it's trying to make those adjustments in the numbers, going all the way across there.
But
And I
even
really-
6-year, you account.
Exactly, in the
Yeah,
6
that's
year,
right.
I've really accounted for that all the way across.
That was my,
Absolutely.
good answer, thank you.
6 years gives you room to work within a larger.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna throw a wrench in this, but something you're gonna have to think about, the biggest con is that it will throw you off the cycle of the EPNO.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be going out to the voters more often
With a 6.
with a 6. Right now, I mean, if you keep if you keep both of them on the same cycle, we go out once for 2. But if you do stagger them, we've done it before, but it's just something you need to consider.
So the 6 years cycle, you're not going out when we go out next time for EPN, right? Until 2 years later.
Yeah, we're gonna do 4 more. Yeah, you can't do 2 votes.
Yeah, 4 years is the maximum we can go, but sometimes people go 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, just by thought that if you are uncertain, you can go 2 years, right? That kind of thing. So it may not always match your.
Just for edification, the last time we went out for the tech levy, was that for a 4-year or a 6-year?
6 years.
Right, I thought, okay.
This is the what we had last time. This is the dollar amount that we had last time.
And did that work out well?
It does.
Outstanding. It
Okay.
truly honestly did. And I was only here for the last 2 years of it. But
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
we were very frugal with our money. I mean, unbelievably frugal. But we negotiated unbelievable all the way around from every device that we had in every contract we went out for.
Well, like I said, that Kyle did a very good job. He always go out, even though it's not required to bid, he still go out for bid. He's still doing it. He wants to know that if he get the best bid.
What's kind of the historical experience on getting them on the same cycle? From a board perspective, like. Those of you that have been here longer.
But I think what she also just said is that even though you do the one every 4 years, you could do it at a 2-year mark and put it back on at the same time. Right?
Right, use the other one to get back in line with it.
Yeah, you
You
can,
can do that too.
you could do.
That's exactly what we did it here, before I came. The 2
So-
years to match the 6 years, this again. Right? So it could be one time off cycle, one time go back if you want to go back.
That's what you're saying, you don't have to make, we wanted to stick with 6-year and still try to get on the same cycle, then we change.
The EPNO.
You know, to match
Yeah.
versus changes. That
I think it is.
It sounds like the 6-year was way more beneficial on this.
It's way more beneficial for the students in this district, yes.
Okay.
I mean, the EPNO, that was how we pay the bills. I just want to remind you of that, because when we did a 4-year last time, and what a great decision, because COVID hit, we didn't have to go back out for a levy, we could focus on keeping our kids learning. So the 4-year at that time was a great decision. Just, I mean, it's a big decision. I mean, you're hearing from the experts that they can make it work, but do you want to do 6 or 4?
Any other question?
Paul? You out there?
I'm out here. I like the 6. I'm glad that Robin said that would be most beneficial for students and staff. I think if the only drawback is that it's mismatched to the enrichment levy, I mean, again, the enrichment levy, if it comes up again after 4 years, we might find ourselves like we did back in 2018, where it was like we expected a law change, so we only went out for 2 years for the enrichment levy. The law did change, which allowed us to redo calculations and get it back out. And then it got back on the same cycle. So there's that option, or there's an option in 6 years that whoever's on the school board at that time, they go out with another 6 year technology levy. And so that they eventually come up on cycle, every third time. So I like the stability of the 6 years. In fact, I'd like the EP&O or the enrichment levy to be 6 years too. But anytime you can lock in long-term funding for, it just provides more stability. So, oh, and Bang,
Yes,
I just want to thank you. I didn't have any questions on, I thought the numbers look good on this particular, technology levy. Again, it's straightforward. Yes, it's projections, but it's not quite like trying to hit a moving target like the enrichment levy is. So I understand that. And again, you always provide us enough information that I could actually do calculations and stuff like that. So I appreciate that, Bang. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Thank you very much, Robin. Thank you, Bang. Appreciate all the work.
First board presentation.
Yes.
Sort of.
Oh.
Any board discussion for tonight? Anybody?
I'm gonna save mine for the board meetings.
Rick?
I have nothing to say tonight.
So we
Kevin?
technology.
We good? We good?
Yes. Totally.
Any discussion down there?
I want to share.
I'm just asking, I thought you were going to the podium to give a presentation.
Oh, and I was,
You were disconnected.
thank you for making sure. Chat.
This is, I just wanted to kind of show what we have done and stuff like that, just really quick and stuff like that. Because we really need this fix, what happened, because this is what we've done with the last six. We went one-to-one devices for all of our scholars, a levy providing Chromebooks. The secondary students have assigned Chromebooks they get to take home with them. The all elementaries have, every classroom has a complete cow inside it, car on wheels, with all the devices loaded inside it. The Wi-Fi upgrade, we have the fastest Wi-Fi in the state when it comes to school districts. We have the new Aruba all the way around. It's incredible. I don't know how to explain that, and it's even going to get better because dark fiber is not finished. Just to kind of give you an idea, I'll use Federal Way as an example. They have a 5 gig pipe to their high schools, and they have a 2 gig pipe to every one of their elementaries and stuff. We have 10 gig pipe to every site, and the dark fiber is going to bring us to 40 gigs. So when I'm saying we've changed the game with the tech levy, we have more than changed the game. So classroom.
We love it.
Simultaneously in a classroom can use it, and in our common areas, 120 can jump on it and go all day long, and it's pretty exciting. The ViewSonic interactive panels you've seen right here, these are completely in every classroom, in every conference room throughout this entire district. Every teacher roaming from one school to the next school has the exact same technology. There's no learning curve. This is what they know and this is what they use, which makes it very, very, it just makes it very strong. The fact that a teacher can put all their whiteboards, sit and work their whiteboard endlessly and just write on it and just slide it to the side. And at the end of it, throw a Caspia up to where the students can all just break up their phone and take it and walk out the door and have pages upon pages upon pages of notes on their phone, on their Chromebook instantaneously. That's a game changer in the world of teaching. The cybersecurity, I'm very, very proud of and stuff like that. The 2-factor, we have all of our administrators are on 2-factor or better. and stuff, and that's unbelievable. Most school districts are fighting each other over two-factor, trying to get it stood up or get anybody to participate, and we're making the entire role to where all of our teachers and everyone we're working that path, and which is very, very exciting. We're starting our filtering test for staff awareness training to let them know what they should click on and what they shouldn't click on. And we're just trying to save ourselves. If we get a cyber attack and it goes really bad, it's gonna be because of something we click on. So we're just trying to be very upfront and teach our staff exactly what the proper way to use the technology we have. The creation of policies, PCI compliance, incident response. Thank you, Keith. You're amazing at what we're doing. And the portal devices for our teachers, we changed the game. We just upped them. All the teachers this year got a brand new Chromebook, but it's not anything of the generation that we've known of Chrome before. They are, in most cases, 3 times faster than any device I have inside the district. And that's what our teachers have moving forward with today. So I just wanted, I knew we had a lot of others, big items on there, but I really wanted to show the power of what the last levy was to kind of make us, this new 6 years would be really helpful for all of us.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question. Would you go back to a couple of 2 or 3 slides back?
Sure.
You're gonna ask a question about technology?
Okay, this one. Okay, I see all your, are those all your members from your who's who? And that
Inside our district is superstars, and I can only point one of them. The rest of them, and stuff, the one in the center, that's our lead.
Oh, nice.
I still think that he's the coolest one-room graphic I have ever seen, so I have to grab it. Just had to say.
Robin's favorite area, really, yeah.
Thank you.
Good job.
Before we close, anything they want to bring up? Okay, thank you for the treats. All right.
Paul?
I'm good. Thanks for the presentation, Robin and Bang.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.